Okay, hi. Welcome back to Know Thyself, or welcome if this is your first time here. I'm Ina. I'm doing a tag, another tag. Yeah, that's a surprise, isn't it? I will continue with my Deacon Walk series because I really enjoyed that, actually. I really enjoyed making that video, and it's important to me that I stay consistent with that and I continue. So probably the video after this one will be another Deacon Walk video. Anyway, I wanted to join this tag. Everyone's doing it. I wanted to be cool and join in with the popular kids and not be left out. So this is a tag by Thea over at Garden Goddess Tarot and Meg at Rose Honey Ritual. I believe it's an old tag. It was a Katie Flowers tag that was called Only 10 Decks. So they've revived it and put a new spin on it. So now it's only 10 mass market decks. So if you could only keep 10 mass market decks, what would they be? So let's just get into it. So I believe both Meg and Thea mentioned that some decks would just be a given. So like the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Thoth, if you read the Thoth, and I'm guessing any Marseille would just kind of be a given. I guess that would vary, that would vary from person to person, but I mean, I'm assuming that the three main systems, at the very least, would just kind of be exempt from this. They would just kind of be givens, so they don't count towards the 10. So the 10 that I would have, the 10 I would keep. So in no particular order, because I can't rank my decks because they're all my babies and I'm terrible at ranking. I can't be objective. I really can't be objective. So I'm just gonna go in whatever order I decide to just pick up the decks from the box that's next to me. So I'm starting with the Dreamkeepers Tarot by Liz Houston. So this deck, hang on. I don't really use this for other people. This is a very personal deck for me. And I feel like I need a deck that I only use for myself, mostly. This is a deck that really intensely connects me to spirit, a particular spirit, ancestors as well. This is a great deck for ancestral work, in my opinion. It's a great dream deck, as the name would imply. But yeah, I use it, it's a dedicated deck for me. So I use it with a very specific, purpose in mind. So I couldn't be without this. Not just because I love the art and it's so evocative to me. What it is exactly. It feels like if the Tildwyck had people in it, or if the Tildwyck was somehow personified, this would be it. The Dreamkeepers would be like the personification of the Tildwyck Tarot, which I don't have. It is on my wish list. I have like at least 1,000 decks on my wish list. So that's not saying much, but yeah, I just, ooh, this one, yeah, this one connects me to spirit. As I said, it's dedicated. I need a deck that I can use to do ancestral work and also connect to a particular deity. And this is it for me. This does it perfectly. I should use it more for dream work, because there's stuff I like. There's stuff I notice every time I look at it, there's just new stuff that comes to the surface. Like details I never even, like these buildings, this kind of like falling figure. There's just stuff I don't notice that, like, I notice something new. I'm guaranteed to notice something different from this deck each time I use it, and that's why I love it so much. I love this 10 of... and this Queen of Wands. Yeah, I love this deck. I'm biased. I love it. I couldn't be without it, honestly. So, because again, it's a very personal deck to me. I would need this deck in my collection, in my Omi 10. So, I love this 8 of Cups. Yeah. So, Dreamkeepers. Okay. Spent long enough on that one. So, moving on. Let's see. Okay. This is my Tarot of the Master. The Giovanni Baccetta or Vacchetta Tarot. It's published by, there are some like Anima Antiqua, I think also published by Lo Scarabeo, versions of this deck. I just have the generic mass market edition that they came out with the borders trimmed, of course. I keep it in this piece of fabric. This is eye candy for me. I mean, this is one of those decks that I just maybe one in my collection because it's so pleasing to me. And maybe that's a bit like superficial. I don't know. I read with it. I obviously read with this deck. It's Pippish. It's not quite a Marseille, it's more of an Italian, obviously follows more of an Italian cartomantic tradition. But it is one of those, this deck was, so from my research, the Waite Smith wasn't the first illustrated deck. This was one of the first that had like illustrated pips. This doesn't have fully illustrated pips, but it does have, I don't know how to describe it. It has like imagery that points to, suggests the meaning of the cards. And this was before the Waite Smith. So I know there are older decks that are illustrated as well, have illustrated pips like the Solabusca. But this is one of the first that really, I mean, we don't really know what the Solabusca was used for, if it was a card game, if it was was used for magic, sorcery. This is one of those decks that really, oh, it's so beautiful. I love that. I know there's an Il Meneghello version printing of this deck that has different colorway. And there's also another one called the Tarot Renascentista, I believe also has a different colorway. So this is the one deck that I would have like backup copies of, just because I want the different colorways. That's how much I love it. Maybe for very superficial reasons, but I just love the art. I'm just obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with how, I don't know, how like decorated the pips are. It's like, really, there's nothing like it. So this is from, oh, I think it's from 1893. Yeah. So this precedes the Waite-Smith. So there did exist. There was a deck that did try to incorporate illustrations into the minor arcana, even if, you know, quite simplistic ones. But I would argue, you know, they're not that simplistic. I just think it's so beautiful. So yeah, I want the Il Meneghello one, I want the other one, and I want the one in black and white, which is also from Lo Scarabeo, I believe. It's an Anima Antiqua type format. I want all of them. This deck, I just often, oh, this has to be one of my favorite cards in the deck. Because of the snails, the bugs, the little toad. I love it so much. The Ten of Wands. But yeah, it can't be beat for me. Like, whenever I'm not using it, whenever I have, like, I've put it away, I'm just always thinking about it, like always thinking about how I want to be reading with it, using it. I haven't used it to read for other people yet, but I definitely will. I have to. Yeah. It's so, I love this Queen of Swords with almost like a Holofernes, depicting the story of Holofernes and Judith, I believe. Judith, I think. So yeah, I had to trim this deck because it came with these obnoxious, you know, not the typical Lo Scarabeo borders, but with all the languages, but it did come with this really obnoxious, like, green border that was like asymmetrical, and it had keywords on it, which I have actually written down somewhere so I can refer back to them when I need to, but it was it was so unnecessary, and I did such a terrible job trimming this, but I don't care. This deck is my baby. So that was the Giovanni Vachetta, or the Tarot of the Master, by Lo Scarabeo. And Giovanni Vachetta, of course. Okay. Next one, I think I'll bring out the John Bauer, why not? John Bauer, this is one of those art decks that have been, the art was not intended to be in a tarot deck, so this artist's body of work, John Bauer, was never intended to be a tarot deck, but it's been retrofitted to kind of fit into a tarot system, although this is one of those ones where the choices are dubious, to say the least. I have considered, there's a whole story on why it's so worn. I love it. I absolutely love it, but yeah. I want to trim. I am really seriously considering trimming the borders and just using this as an oracle deck, as I've seen some other people do, because just the tarot associations don't really do it for me. I don't know. Some of them, because I'm not really familiar with John Bauer's work, or like trolls troll folklore, Scandinavian fairy tales and folklore. I feel like this is a deck that would benefit from being trimmed and just having the artwork, because I don't know the stories behind these paintings, these illustrations. I can't draw associations with I struggle to find the connection with the tarot associations. If you've watched Midsummer, this appeared in Midsummer right at the beginning. So yeah, that's as much as I'll say about it. If you've watched Midsummer, you'll get it. But yeah, I love John Bauer's work, so I think this would benefit from a trim job. And then I could just sort of interpret it intuitively. But I do want the anthology of his work. I just want to know the story behind these cards. Really. I love the trolls. Yeah. But, you know, I kind of don't want to get rid of, like, the worn. I mean, I guess the edges on some of these cards are quite worn, so maybe it wouldn't be an issue. I'd still keep that, this is really bad, but I'd still conserve that look to it, even if I trimmed it. I just really like how it looks, so that's why I've been hesitant to trim it, but I think I will trim it. Yeah. But yeah, this is indispensable in my collection. It's just, again, it's one of those decks that when I'm not using it, I'm like thinking about using it. I'm thinking about grabbing it. It's just, and I edged it kind of terribly in various shades of green. It's so messy, but I love this deck so much. I love it. Can't be without it. Okay. Next up, we have a deck I feature a lot on my channel, the Tantric Dakini. Yeah. I don't know if I have much to say on this. If you've watched previous videos of mine, I've showed this deck off quite a lot. So I'm just gonna flip through it. It's so weird and it's so wonderful. I really do think it's beautiful. I did say in my previous video that I'm thinking of doing a series where I work out like I Ching associations for these cards, because I noticed a few synchronicities that I thought might make it easier for me to read these cards, because as it is, kind of struggle even when I apply the tarot system. So there is like an actual tarot system applied to these cards, so it has a major arcana, it has a minor arcana, but I don't get the tarot associations. I just don't see them for the most part. So I am thinking I might turn this into an I Ching deck that I can use for like I Ching divination. I think that might be interesting. I know it's like Tantra, but the guidebook is so confusing. It pulls from so many different sources and traditions. It's not a very good starting point for learning Tantra, really. So I've kind of already distanced it. It's for me, it's already distanced itself from actual tantric tradition. So I just don't read it that way. Unfortunately, I wish I could, but I just don't know enough. And the book isn't really a good starting point. Blow Your Mind. I remember the titles despite me having trimmed them off. Pearls Before Swine. What was this? Totally Bananas. Yeah. I love this. This is the Ten of Cups. Yeah. Heartseat. Puja. I think this is Phoenix. The Riddle one, I can't remember. Just Passing Through. Survival. These are like flashcards for me. Yeah. So that's the Tantric Dakini, previously known as the Secret Dakini, by, oh, I don't have the book by me, so I believe the artist is Penny Slinger, but I'll put it up on the screen, who the author is. So yeah. The Nicoletta Ciccoli. I only have the mini version. I do obviously want the full size, but this is a great travel deck for me. It never leaves my bag. It's always in my bag. As I've said before on this channel, okay, so this is one of those other Lo Scarabeo retrofitted artwork decks. So a lot of people have mentioned that, yeah, the tarot associations don't quite match the images, and some people have even like completely reworked the entire deck, or just like trimmed the borders to turn it into an oracle. And while that is tempting for me, I did consider that for a while. I actually quite like how this particular deck, so this wouldn't be the case for the John Bauer, personally. I feel like I just don't get the tarot associations for the John Bauer. They're like quite the stretch. But for these ones, I feel like they're not too off. They just, I feel like they kind of push my limit, like push the limits of my understanding of tarot. Give me, this is definitely a shadow work deck, as a lot of people will tell you, like an inner child shadow work deck. So I don't mind the tarot associations because they do work for me. They push my, I don't know, they push the limits of my imagination, really, is what I'd say. I feel like that is important for a inner child deck. So yeah, this having a tarot system, even if it doesn't seem to completely align with the like traditional Waite-Smith meanings, I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. Yeah, like the 10 of Coins. Yeah, I mean, you can find a way of making that work. The Moon. 7 of Cups. That one does work really well. But, yeah, I love this. And I've said before, I don't think this is creepy. I imagine they're dolls. So, like, not people, not doll-like people, but just dolls. So I don't find it, I mean, it is good for shadow work, but I don't find it that creepy, as other people have said. But I'm a Scorpio, so I don't know, maybe that maybe that answers your question. Next up, one of the most recent acquisitions in my collection. This was a gift. The Oracle of the Radiant Sun. It's quickly climbed up the ranks. It's quickly become a favorite of mine. I don't think this and the book, I don't think I could do without this in my collection. It makes perfect sense to me. I'm not like prodigiously well versed in astrology, but this does break it down in a way that makes sense to me. That I can go, oh yeah, I see that, I get that. And I love the art. I love the illustrations so much. This goes well with a surprising amount of decks. Like, it pairs really well with a lot of decks. So yeah, I don't have much to say about it, but the book is really, really good. If you are gonna look for, so if you're in the market for an astrology deck, don't know much about astrology, I'd say this is one of those that this would be the one you should go for, honestly. The guidebook's really good. And yeah, I think the images are just really intuitive. They're just really, I don't know, they're just kind of self-explanatory, I feel. I have some other decks by these creators, oh yeah, I forgot to say, I'll put it up on the screen because I don't have, oh my god, I'm so bad at this. But I do have the Elemental Tarot by them as well. And that's a very intuitive deck that completely goes its own way. But I don't know, I just really love the esoteric symbolism that's been integrated into these, like, I don't know, I just love it. I just really love this. Yeah, it's new to me, but I can't be without it now. It gives some great context for me as well. It's a really good context deck. Gives me, so I'll like, I don't know, let's say I'm working with a Marseille. I'll pull a card from this deck, so it gives me like a keyword to kind of bounce off the pips, so that I have, like, if I'm doing a general reading, I have some context for what kind of direction I have to look in, what kind of slant I should give the reading. And it worked really well for me in a recent client reading, doing that. And I was working with the Waitesmith even, so I mean the Waitesmith is very easy and straightforward, but I was struggling with understanding what the context was because it was a general reading and it could have meant a number of things, and this deck really helped anchor the reading for me, ground it somewhat, and it gave some actual, like, really very spookily on point, accurate contextual clues to the reading, and that helped me give a better reading. So decks that are not only like pretty, like eye candy, but also so like useful, so pragmatic, yeah, great choice for me. Yeah, has to be one of my 10. Okay, next up, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decks. Wait, am I missing one? Wait. 2, 3. Yeah. I feel like I'm missing one. Okay, I'll just continue because I only have 3 decks here. Oh yeah, okay, of course. I know which one I'm missing. I'll leave it to the end. Okay, because it's in my room, so I have to go get it. Okay. The Literary Witches, for me, is a must-have. Yes, definitely. It's split into 2 sections, but now I'm really getting into using the whole deck. I used to be only into kind of like using the deck by sections, so using these cards as a standalone Oracle deck, which they honestly does do its job, but I'm incorporating the authors now as well into the whole thing, because I do want the book. There's actually a book, so this was like a complimentary, so not this like tiny little thing. There's a Literary Witches book. I do want the book because I need more historical context for the authors, for some of the authors, and I feel like that would really deepen my understanding of the symbolism, the messages that these figures, these people, these literary witches have. Sylvia Plath, I love. So some of these I recognize, some I don't. So that's why I really think I'm gonna get the book. Angela Carter, Emily Dickinson, Emily Bronte, of course. Audre Lorde, Sappho, Leslie Marmon-Silko, Anna Akhmatova. Yeah, some of Flannery O'Connor, Toni Morrison, of course. See, there are some that I don't know much about Yumiko Kurahashi, so yeah, the book is gonna come in handy for that. Shirley Jackson. And then Agatha Christie, Charlotte Perkins Gilman, Alejandra Pizarnik, Anais Nin, favorite, Gertrude Stein, Anne Carson. Yeah, I do know most of these, but not all. So I think rather than just using this section, which I do, and not just in Halloween, I use this like, I mean, I don't use this in the summertime as much. I have this year, but for the darker months especially, I think I kind of use this like a Lenormand deck, to be honest. Just like cartomancy, like a dark cartomancy, kind of like folksy deck. But yeah, I think this deck does benefit from incorporating all the cards in the deck, not just the symbols, but incorporating the authors as well. Yeah, I don't know if I have much more to say. See, I think this video, again, not gonna be one of my strongest ones. I don't really have any strong videos, I don't think. I'm very bad at describing, I'm bad at explaining why I love a particular deck. I don't know, I'll get better at it, I guess. Okay, next up, of course, I featured this in my Good Mood decks, I think. I haven't shown it since, but this is very much a spring summer deck for me. It's obnoxiously big, so I can only shuffle it like this. So that's not a point in its favor, but the backs. Again, this is one of those eye candy decks that I just need because it's beautiful to look at, and so much of my practice is visual. So much of what goes, like, what I see, what goes through my eyes. So much of what I see is like integral to how I interpret and understand the world around me. It's so integral to my practice. And oh, this is by Montefaber, and oh my god, I can't believe I know this. I do actually know this. Guess I'll just pop it up on the screen. I'm so sorry. That is so beautiful. The tapestries. The tapestry collage work. Again, this is just, I think this is not like, I don't know, it just sums up my practice, I think. It's one of my favorite collage decks as well. I love this Three of Wands so much. It really does define how I don't know, I experience the world, or how I'd like to experience it. I think I have a tendency to be quite pessimistic, so this is a lens, this is like a voice that I really need in my collection. I really need this kind of, you know, except for like the more negative cards, but I really need this optimism, this just like beauty for the sake of Amy Zerner. Montefaber and Amy Zerner. Okay, god. I'm so bad at this. This video sucks. Okay. Yeah, I really need these visuals in my collection. I need this optimism, this just unabashed optimism, beauty. I need it to thrive. This deck thrives, right? It helps me thrive. It makes me happy. And I need that. I need one of those decks in my collection, for sure. So, this High Priestess. It's just so beautiful. I can't be without this deck. I am enchanted by it. Oh wait, I forgot to say, this is the Enchanted Tarot. I think I forgot to say that, but yeah. Yeah, okay. Oh, this is such a mess. Okay. Whatever. Second to last, so I think we have 8. I think we're on, wait, 9. Okay, so we're on the 9th deck. Okay, this is another deck that I can't live without. I just can't. I can't live without this crazy deck. Please ignore this. I completely botched. I tried to cut like a finger, like a thumb hole to open this easier, and I just yeah, ignore it. And this is a deck that when I'm away from it, I miss it. It's another one of those decks that I couldn't be without this deck. And I feel like it's gonna take me a lifetime to know these characters. And I like that. I like the idea of that. I really want to buy the book with the, like, the proper book. I think it's by Ronald Decker. Please forgive me if it's not. If again, I'll place the name, I'll put the name across the screen if it's not Ronald Decker, but this feels like a medieval village. It really does. It feels, it's full of life. It's brimming with life. The major arcana in this deck feel so potent as well. They really, really do feel like, they feel like classic Triomphe. They really do feel like, I don't know, I feel like with some decks, the major arcana kind of gets lost. And I end up actually preferring the minor arcana, which isn't necessarily an issue, but I feel like the major arcana should be the most potent part of the deck, right? The principal archetypes. And this has it. This deck has it. They feel like so potent on their own. And then the minors are just, it's just feels like I'm coming in contact with, feels like I belong in this village. This Pope looks like Santa. Is it just me, or he might be one of the more friendly looking popes that I have in any deck, really. I think, like a lot of people, I'm not usually a fan of the Pope or Hierophant, but he looks kind of friendly, in my opinion. He looks like Santa. So beautiful. I love Scapini's artwork, really. And there's so much to dive into. He really puts so much thought into this. He puts a lot of thoughts into all of his decks. And it's just a deck that I wanna explore. I wanna keep exploring for as long as I have it. I don't want it to, it's not going anywhere, okay? It's not going anywhere. Again, when I'm not using it, I'm thinking of using it. Like, I miss it. Like, I'm just, yeah, I'm like, why am I not using the Scapini right now? It makes me laugh. It really does. Yeah. Oh yeah, Scapini always includes himself. Almost always includes himself in his own decks, which I find really... But yeah. I love this, the melodrama. So that was the medieval Scapini. I love this card. Okay, last but not least, I think I have included a few Oracle decks. Yeah, I have. But this is like my most well-rounded kind of daily, I mean, it's in the title, Daily Crystal Inspiration, by Heather Askanose. Sorry if I've completely butchered that, but I can't believe I'm saying this about a crystal deck because I don't really work much with crystals, but this is one of my like all-rounder centered, just, oh, I don't know. I don't know, I'm really struggling with words today. This is my most grounded deck. And again, I can't believe I'm saying that about a crystal deck, but it is. Sometimes I just need short, like quick, snappy phrases, like get up, get moving, loosen your grip, set strong boundaries. The guidebook is really good and it has some really good journal prompts as well. I've gone to the guidebook a lot for my journaling, but when I just need like, what I'll usually do is I'll ask the deck, what energy do I need? Like, what energy can I embrace today, or what energy will help me throughout the day? And I'll get an answer. I'll just get a quick, snappy answer that will absolutely is always relate, is always on point to what I'm experiencing, and that's exactly what I need to hear. And because there's so much white space, and it's just like photographs of crystals, you can put this up, you can like pair this with any deck really, and it provides a nice, like, just a nice kind of contrast. Like, it gives breathing room to any spread, and I mean, it's beautiful. I think the crystals that are, you have some unexpected ones in here for sure. I just think it is, I don't think I need another crystal deck because I have this one. And if I'm going to have a crystal deck in my 10, my only 10, then this is the one for me. Because a lot of other crystal decks get really kind of up there and woo, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not my personal practice. That's not how I approach crystals at all. I just don't, I don't know. I'm not much of a crystal hound, a rock hound. I don't know much about crystals, so this just really distills it for me. This tells me what I need to know. Like, it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't get too up there. It just condenses the meanings of these crystals into like easy to understand, straightforward messages. So I really need I need an oracle that's like that. And it's just a bonus that it's a crystal deck. So I love looking at this, and it does make me want to work more with crystals. But yeah, I think this might be the only crystal deck I need, really. It has everything I could ever want from a crystal deck. I got this yesterday or the other day, I think. Get out of your own way. Yeah. Oh, I got this one. Yeah, I got this one yesterday, and I got this one the day before. Get out of your comfort zone. So it's not always like, you know, that is like, it is a supportive deck, but it's not always going to tell you, like, it's not always going to deliver the message in a like, oh, kind of like love and light, soft, fluffy way. It just tells you exactly what you need to hear. It doesn't beat around the bush. It just gives it to you straight, and I love that. So yeah, that is the Daily Crystal. And those are my 10 decks. So I hope you enjoyed that. I don't know if I'm even going to be able to fit all of them on here. I don't think so. Yeah, I really don't think I'm going to be able to fit all of them on here. Yeah. So, what are your 10? I'm like really enjoying this tag, by the way. I'm really enjoying seeing what other people, what other people's like selections are. Yeah, okay. Oh, this is not great. As far as my videos go, this is not one of my best. I always say that. Yeah. So that was my 10 mass market decks. Okay. Hope you enjoyed that. If it was entertaining or of any value to you whatsoever, please consider giving this video a like, subscribing if you haven't already, and yeah, I hope you're all doing well. Yeah, see you around.